When did you start Smokey's Automotive?
1946.
You didn't grow up in Daytona, did you?
No.
Where you
Well, we got to go through that one again?
Yeah.
All right. When the war first started, they made me an engineering test pilot, which is a fancy sounding thing, but a very boring job. Since that became so boring, I started figuring out places I could go and get back in the 8 hours or so that I had, and Daytona was one place I picked. When I flew over this place, it was such a beautiful looking place. I thought, hell, that's where I'd like to live. So when I did decide to get out of the Air Force, I came right straight down here.
He was a welder before he went off to the service, and he read what he did.
He'd go in there and shut that door and lock himself in there, no phone calls, nothing. And he'd work his magic.
Physics and the chemistry, to me, was very interesting. So all I ever did was use all those books in the office to play with these games. The whole thing was a constant experience of finding out that what was in the books wasn't true, because I kept doing things that they said couldn't be done.
Smokey Yunick was a mad scientist, pushing every limit. By the late 50s, he found a like mind in driver Paul Goldsmith. And together, they set out to make Daytona Beach their personal proving ground.
Horsepower. If you look at the beach course, it was 4.1 mile. Smokey, he had the advantage in that he could get that extra horsepower down that long straightaway. You know, there's just so much you can do to a car to get the horsepower out. Your driver's going to floor it. Where's that extra horsepower going to come from? It's going to come from right here.
Just look at that man drive. Goldsmith streets for the checkered flag and wins.
Was that the highlight of your career up to then?
Probably.
He was very irreverent, very sarcastic, but maybe that was part of his charm. Unfortunately, Smokey Yunick and Bill France Sr., the president of NASCAR, they were kind of like oil and water. They just didn't get along.
France just finished the old racetrack, and he's got a big deal set to put the first lap on it. I had a Pontiac station wagon. Pontiac loaned me. And I just drove out there and right past him and drove around the damn racetrack, and I was the first one that ever went around it. Oh, was he hot.
I bet he was. I mean, that had to be his pride and joy, that racetrack.
Well, he had all the TV there.
So he was trying to get some press, right?
Yeah, he got it.
Racing, as it was being born with NASCAR here in Daytona Beach, was lawless. It was the Wild West.
There's a lot of stories about Smokey. They drained the fuel cell at Daytona, and he drove his car on it back over the Halifax River over there at his shop. I don't know where the gas came from.
I could have drove the son of a bitch to Jacksonville with what I had in.
And everybody said, how could he do that? Well, back then, there was no rule on the gas line, how big it was and how long it was. So he had a 50-foot gas line underneath the seat. Smokey was never a cheater. There was no rule.
They knew when he showed up at the track that he was the nemesis. He not only went in the gray areas, but where it almost got black, he was over there.
If you're an innovator and you're a smart guy like Smokey was, and there is no rule, is there really a gray area? He made them right rules.
Everybody was wondering whenever Smokey would show up, what's he up to now?
And among the top contenders should be the Ford Fairlanes, the Plymouths, the Dodges, and a lonely Chevelle, which somehow managed to win the pole. That's car number 13, Curtis Turner.
When Smokey brought that Chevelle in, I don't think there's been a feat in stock car racing more formidable for the...
When Curtis Turner flipped that Chevelle at Atlanta, a lot of folks who were there say it's the worst accident they ever saw.
was there, and the car was just torn to smithers.
And Curtis never got a scratch out of that. So Smokey, he was a genius.
In his era, they lost a lot of drivers, and he thought about those things, and that's part of his genius. Well, they say there's nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come, but guys like Smokey were way ahead of their time with a lot of their ideas.
In spite of what everybody thinks, I have met an awful lot of smart guys in Daytona. I have met no geniuses.
His legacy is a brain that we had never seen in NASCAR before and may never see again.